well, another thing that we are talking quite a lot about in the car is why you actually moved here. That's a tricky question because it's a quite long way from Sweden, and we know because we've been driving a lot these days, and it's quite cold. Oh yeah, we are supposed to be the Vikings here. We are freezing, and it's kind of interesting question. Going all these thousands and thousands of miles for coming to a place looking exactly like the one we left. Well, it's a tricky one. We can talk about that later as well. Perhaps with Dr. Phil. This relation with cold and dark, something that always comes back in our common history, and it goes way back to the Vikings, and they were really good farmers as well. And above all, they were farmers. We know them as fighters with swords and spears, but they were really good farmers, fighting winter more than strangers. And the winter time was so hard that when the missionary came in 1100, he had to change the concept of hell to the Vikings. He couldn't just talk about hell as a warm and warm place where you could drink beer and fool around. Because the Vikings had just asked, well, how do we get there? And it's also fun with when the missionary man was talking about the new God that was, you had to believe in him, otherwise he didn't exist. And the Vikings thought, well, strange God, don't believe if you don't. It doesn't exist if you don't believe in him. Our gods, like Thor and Odin, they exist whether we believe in them or not. So the missionary man had quite a hard time there, but he did pretty well in the end. And this freezing and coldness, that's one thing that we have in common for sure. But we got beaten this time. It was lots colder here than it was in Sweden when we left. And we're going to do a song now about sunshine. It feels good to do that now. And it's like, the darker it is, the more you can see the light. Låt det ljuva solsken. Vill du mörker vara fri? Vill du ha det härligt när det är besvärligt? Låt det ljuva solsken in. If you want your smile to stay, you got to let the sun shine in. Wake up for a better day. You got to let the sun shine in. You got to let the sun shine in. You got to let the sun shine in. When times are getting better, when you're feeling sadder, you got to let the sun shine in. If you want to feel alright, you got to let the sun shine in. If you want to sleep at night, you got to let the sun shine in. You got to let the sun shine in. You got to let the sun shine in. When you're feeling better, when you're feeling sadder, you got to let the sun shine in.
Tack så